Hello and welcome to another jungle video and the first of season 10. And in this one, we will be taking a look at the best 3 new jungle routes that you can use in the refurbished jungle. Yes, we have alcoves, but the experience changes have once again brought about great jungle change. Not to mention the dragons who have figured out they can leave the physical limitations of the dragon pit. Yes, we covered that in our previous season 10 video, so if you're looking for a dragon breakdown, that's the one to watch. But in this one, we're focused on jungle route diversity and how we can approach our early game with these new experience changes. We don't have all the exact finalized numbers just yet, but the overall experience is down about 5%, Gromp has gone up, and Krugs have gone down. And the biggest problem we had in the jungle this year was the fact that if you wanted to get level 3 from 3 camps, you had to include the Krugs, and champions that could not viably do those Krugs were restricted to 4 camp clears. That delayed your level 3 ganking potential, and thus the meta has basically been static for quite a few months. And the last jungle routes video we did explained this in great depth. So let's get straight into our jungle routes, and of course if you like fancy lasers, motion blur, and other assorted effects, please consider liking the video, and of course please subscribing for those season 10 jungle videos that will be coming your way over the next month. And so with the experience of the Grump going up and the Krugs going down, do not worry, those people who love metas and never changing, the red Krugs Raptor Clear will still be a thing you can do, all the same options will exist for you. However, if you are a different champion, a Warwick, a Volibear, and you like single targeted camps, Blue, Grump, and Wolves will now give you level 3 so you can do the same effective clear except on the other side of the map. In fact, you can get level 3 from doing any combination of a buff, an outer camp, and any other camp. So yes, experience is down, but because we can get level 3 again from 3 camps, great for single target machete users, and the fact that the camps are down from 2-minute 30 respawns to 2 minutes means that the changes in the meta and the changes in how we approach our pathings is going to be quite drastic. Now for this clear, if you're going to go from Blue to Grump to Wolves, you can easily look to gank level 3 on either one of the lanes that are on your side of the map. This could be bottom side, this could be top side. Given the fact that the dragons will be easier to take and the fact that we have 2 heralds spawning starting from 8 minutes means that we're not quite sure which lane assignments and which lane metas will dominate, but you now have the option to counter gank that red side that's doing a typical red side clear on the blue side of the map. You can simply do your blue side clear, be level 3, and able to gank on the bottom side, or you can simply go and gank on the mid lane. The options to gank lanes are not as predetermined, so laners you have to start looking out for things, and junglers you have to start throwing some unique spins on how you clear and how you gank. No longer shall the level 3 gank meta be constrained to the red side of the map, and that's great for the game as a whole. Now secondly, if you do get level 3 and perhaps there isn't a gank available to you, maybe you're playing something off meta, maybe something that's weaker early, you're not looking to make that first move but rather be a reactive counter jungling, getting crabs and counter ganking, at least you'll be level 3 by the time you reach your red buff. The biggest problem was, I'll just use Warwick as I play him a lot, you go from Blue to Grump to Wolves now, you're still level 2 when you reach that red buff, so if you get invaded and you lose it, you're kinda stuck in a bit of a weird situation. At least now when the Abomination champions come level 2 to invade you at your red buff and try and cheese you, you will be level 3 and you can have somewhat of an even fight. However, if you simply enjoy doing that blue side into red camp clear and then assessing the situation, getting that crab, counter jungling, ganking, that is all much easier to do now because you hit level 3 sooner. And as such, I can tell you, you're definitely going to see those level 3 ganks coming top, mid, and bottom lane depending where junglers start, and when you're invading on other buffs, know that if you're meeting them after 3 camps, they will also be level 3. So yes, this accomplishes the same thing that the red side clear does, and thus the follow-up to it is also going to be the same. Invades, gank control, ganking, and then falling back to camps. And while Rek'Sai could do things like do red side gank, crab, gank, maybe another crab, go back to base, and then take the second spawn of the Krugs, I don't think we're going to see that again because the value of the Grump going up and the value of the Krugs going down means you're not going to want to leave one side of your camps just sitting there for someone else to take. The Grump on the blue buff, if you do the red side, is going to be way more valuable than it is now. And the red and the Krugs will be more valuable to you if you do the blue side clear. So once you've ganked and you've taken a crab perhaps, you do want to fall back and take those camps so that when they respawn after 2 minutes, you can sequence them properly. Understanding what you need to do after you do a first clear and gank is obviously part of the first route, and we will talk about that a little bit later in the video when we discuss a different full clear route. However, the fact that you can invade, gank, rotate, get crabs, and do all that from either side of the map now is all well and good, and we will see it a lot. There will be a buff control early level 3 meta that can develop by doing red, blue, and Grump. That will give you level 3. It's amazing for single target champions. At least we'll do that really quickly and then head to a lane gank. Camille could do that really quickly and head to a lane gank. You might see a resurgence of Camille. I mean, the CC nerfs on her knockup and clears was still quite substantial. She is really good at level 2 ganks, which was the whole problem. But nonetheless, if you do like to play her, you could see that come about a bit more. This will be done simply by doing your blue Grump into your red, and then you can assess the lane state. If it's pushing in your favor, you can actually use that nice alcove to move on up through the bushes, get in there very sneakily. If it's pushing against you, you simply have a really fast level 3, move on down and conduct your standard gank. And yes, I used a practice tool because we are short on actual raw details at the moment. This isn't live, and so PvE games can be really messy and not perfect. And so we're talking a lot about the theory of what these clears can do and what we might expect such that we are prepared. But when you go into those games from Wednesday onwards, be aware that these are the clears and these are the things you might see. And so of course that's the point of this video, and we will revisit this over the coming months as the meta develops, as new powerful clears come about, and as high elo players like to do, find one route and one meta to rule them all so we can get bored over the next 3 months. But I don't actually think that will happen, and I think we'll have the highest route diversity we've seen since that absolutely horrific level 2 Scuttle Crab meta came about in 2018. Now in terms of which side of the map you would do the single targeted clear on, it will be determined by which lane has the best push-pull potential and which one will allow you to approach for a 100% success rate. Regardless, the nice continuation of this gank is that you can easily fall back into the Scuttle Crab, perhaps gank the mid lane or just simply drive by and secure the other crab, and then perhaps even gank the other lane. It is a heavy gank route that has a foundation in immediate ganking impact while also punishing those junglers that are gonna do full clears that are gonna take longer to show on the map. However, because the camp spawn timers have gone from 2:30 to 2 minutes, it can be very likely that what happens is as you do this clear and you go gank on a side lane, your rubber banded camp comes up in the meantime and the farming jungler says, well, thank you very much for that, I'm gonna steal it. So you could lose that second rubber banded experience Gromp camp, which is now very valuable just like the Krugs have been over the past season. And that's why I'm kind of excited, because you're gonna have these different kinds of jungle playstyles. You might have a Warwick go level 3 blue buff, gank on a mid lane. You could have things like Elise just going buff, buff, and Gromp and ganking a side lane immediately. And then you're gonna have the AFK farm junglers, which we're going to talk about now. That's the biggest difference. Full clears is not really being considered a viable route anymore. However, now as you can see, we have a full clear option route. Yes, you should still be able to be in contention for a crab, however, it's not as important. The goal is to make sure you go back to base, you buy your item to help you clear fast, and you arrive at the Gromp by the time it spawns again, and you can repeat the whole process. Now, I still think early game jungles will dominate. As I've shown you in the first 2 routes, I still think those will be better off for helping you carry and win games. There at least exists the option where you can become a supreme objective focused jungler, hitting those dragons and heralds early, getting level leads over the enemy jungler while they gank. And because of the way the experience nerfs work along with the camp spawn timers, if you were to eat those camps as they spawn, and then you continue to camp sequence them efficiently, you would actually end up with around 12% more experience of gold than you currently get in Season 9. And that's absolutely huge when you consider how the dragons work with the dragon souls and the fact that there's 2 heralds that you can use to get maximum tower plates. Now from this Warwick example, I want to show you something that's very important. It is still vital that you adapt to the game at hand. In this case, I did my simple blue side into red clear. Then I went and got a crab and ganked in the mid lane. I saw the enemy jungler had ganked level 2 on the top side, so I'm going to go and steal his blue buff. Look for a gank in the bottom lane. If there is one, you can do it. If there isn't, you can go about, take your Krugs, take your Raptors. At this point, you should be level 5 or at least close to it. Because of the fact that the dragons are easier to take, and the fact that you're on blue side, hitting over the wall while having Scuttle Crab control means you can easily secure that very quickly. Remember, the first 3 drakes will be completely unique, and in your 4th one, you get a Dragon Soul. This means getting control of that pit early can be absolutely vital if you are a PvE jungler. Now, obviously, in this case, you like to gank with Warwick, you like to have map impact, but you can still secure those dragons. If you're Shyvana in this case, you could have simply done a full clear, but then you don't have the dragon up quite yet. So throwing in those ganks can be very powerful. And just to give you an illustration of what it can feel like in-game to have these camp timers be 30 seconds lower, let me show you a full clear that I do with Elise, including buffs, so that adds even a little bit more time to it. And don't forget, those camp spawn timers will be showing on your map if you cleared a camp. The enemy team won't see it, but if you cleared the camp or see that it's down, those camp timers will actually show up, and so it will draw attention to the fact where you should be going next. Now what happens is after you do all the camps and you go gank in the bottom lane, in Season 9 you're taught, shove those, get the tower plates, retreat back to base, and if you were a full clear jungler, by the time you get back up to Gromp, well then you can sequence on down again. However, you could see how quickly the Gromp and Wolf showed up again. Now if there's a counter jungling AFK farming Shyvana who's securing everything and 2 levels up on you because that's all she's doing, those 2 camps are going to be gone by the time you get back. However, in the event that this won't happen, and let's just assume in the mid and lower MMRs that the junglers you face will not exactly be the cashews amongst the peanuts, you might still have those camps up. So what that means is after you push those 2 tower plates and go back to base, instead of sequencing to the Gromp and going all the way down to the bottom again, why don't you go to the bottom, and by the time you get to the Krugs, they would have respawned because it's only 2 minutes, sequence on up, and then you can secure a herald and use it on the top side. And remember, in 6 minutes there's gonna be another one that you can use, so that heavy pressure AFK farming style can really work if you have a little bit of a ganking thing going on along with it. And in summary, no matter what clear or route you choose, you must understand that there will be a lot of skirmishing, a lot of fighting, a lot of contesting over objectives on the top side. On the bottom side, you've got 2 heralds. You've got very powerful dragons now. You've got a dragon soul, you've got an elder dragon. We still have those tower plates. Choosing which clear will be optimized to the champion you play, and obviously we just scratched the surface of what is going to actually happen this year, but along with the red side clear that we've had for the past couple of months, you do have a lot of options available to you. And from there you have the options to gank, invade, counter jungle, fall back to dragons, and then sequence the rest of your camps. All of that still exists, except now with those camp timers being so low, the game will feel faster paced, it will feel more frantic, and you will feel the need to defend those camps as the spawn timers come up. Just don't forget that the map will change when that 3rd dragon is going to spawn, so play around that accordingly, understand which junglers will benefit better from certain dragons. Warwick will love those fire dragons, breaking down those walls so you can sprint through all the holes as fast as possible to get to those ganks. Rengar players love a good bush and they're going to be covered with them all over the map, and it will also be raining so the map will be soaking wet. I hope you were able to understand a little bit more about the new jungle, perhaps find a route you would like to try over this preseason. And so please do like, share, and comment if you enjoyed and learned something. Please consider subscribing for those juicy Season 10 jungle videos. And as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.